Hello and welcome back to Rediscovering You. If you have ever felt stuck in old money patterns, overwhelmed by financial decisions, or weighed down by scarcity, or just disconnected from your own financial power, you are not alone. So many women were never taught how to build wealth in a way that feels intuitive or empowering and aligned with who they truly are. And today I am joined by a fabulous guest. Her name is Viktoria Chervenkova, women's wealth advocate and author of the book Unleash Your Inner Money Goddess: Ancient Female Wisdom for Modern Wealth. Victoria's work is all about helping women like you break free from limiting money stories and step into confidence, clarity, and financial freedom without shame, without overwhelm, and without losing yourself in the process. Victoria, I am so excited to have this conversation with you. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me, Laura. It's a pleasure to be here.
I was hoping that you could start by, I'm just going to give you space to introduce yourself, tell a little bit about your background, and maybe what inspired you to write this amazing book.
Sure. So I come from a Eastern European country, a post-communist Eastern European country, which only got access to international financial markets and investments in the 90s.
Mhm.
So we were a lot behind, the Western world in any money topics, finances, and that. And while growing up, I witnessed a lot of financial crisis around here. So we had all these long lines of people waiting in front of a store, just hoping that necessities like bread and sunflower oil will not go out of stock before their turn. And we had hyperinflation, just wiping out millions. We had Ponzi schemes, oh, those were so popular, unfortunately, that were robbing people of their savings. And all of this, and even more, there's just a few to name, but all of this created this constant fear and scarcity mindset that I grew up with. It's just all the environment around me was like that. And no one ever taught us financial literacy, no classes, nothing, no conversations about money. So when I came to a point in my life when I realized that I had to take control of our financial situation at our home, it was at a moment where my kids were starting to grow up enough so that they can, take more care of themselves. And it just opened up a little bit of space for me to think about the future and where we are going. And so finances came in as a big topic. But at that point, I realized I have to learn everything from scratch. And I have to overcome all this fear and uncertainty and confusion that I grew up with. So it was a very tough journey. I self-educated myself. It was like a whole university degree that I got by my own,
Wow.
just learning, devouring books, courses, seminars, like anything you can think of. And then I just started working on what I learned. I started investing and created the system that works for our family. And at some point, I just decided, okay, now it's time to give back. I need to share what I've learned so that other women don't have to go through all these years learning stuff on their own because it can feel lonely, it can feel intimidating and so scary at some points, especially in a world where the masculine version and vision of how money works is so strong.
Right.
Where yeah, we are taught to see money as a man's thing,
Mhm.
a man's world. And when you actually understand that money is in its essence a feminine energy, feminine power, because what you use money for is to buy things, to take care of people, to nurture abundance. And
Mhm.
feeling well, and all of that is feminine energy. So shifting this perspective is one of the things that I wanted to talk about in the book. But most of all, I wanted to create something that spoke to women through stories.
Mhm.
One of my favorite books on personal finance is The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. And I love it so much, like the top of my list, top of the top. And I love it so much because it doesn't talk about money. It talks in stories and the lessons that you learn from a psychological viewpoint, and how you apply those in your financial lives. So I was contemplating about this, and then at the same time, I was reading a book on ancient mythology, Persephone Rising. And I've always loved mythology ever since I was a very little kid, like all these stories about gods and goddesses and amazing journeys, transformations. So these two events just coincided in such a powerful way that the book, I said, the book got born itself. I didn't really write it. I had this feeling that it was like a divine download.
Mhm.
Someone told me, use this metaphor, and I loved it. So that's why I'm using it now. But these two things just blended, and I let it, you know, put it in written words.
So beautiful. And sometimes some of the best ideas come from the most unexpected blends of two what seems to be polar opposite sorts of things. Like how could mythology and like masculine money energy possibly work together? And then it does. And that idea, that download, it's like you just know. It's like your intuition is screaming to you, we need to do something with this. Can you
Uh,
talk a bit about like how did you figure out how to blend like two seemingly polar opposite sorts of things of like ancient mythology and goddesses and all of that with like the traditional westernized masculine money system? How?
So yeah, it came from this realization that money is feminine energy.
Hmm.
And when it is all about the deeper wisdom that comes through us, comes through intuition, we just need to dig a little bit deeper. Sometimes it's through meditation, journaling, all those ways that we talk about and we hear other people talk about. But once you realize money is feminine, you start searching for those, I would say archetypes, but it's really like role models
Hmm.
that you can get some lessons from. And because this coincidence came at a point when I was reading about Persephone, she was like the first goddess that I thought of, and I was okay. What kind of money lessons can we learn from Persephone and her story, which is a very untraditional story in even in mythology, because she was kidnapped. She was this young, beautiful goddess that, representing spring and blossom and flowers and nature. And all of a sudden, she gets kidnapped to the underworld. So there she becomes the queen of the underworld. That's as different as it can get. And she was able to transform this. She was able to just claim her new place in her new role and thrive in it. So that made me think, okay, how do we translate that in a financial lesson? And we know so many people face this events where you feel like your whole world is shattered and you can't see any path forward. And then you you take this lesson, you think about Persephone's journey, and you think, okay, if she can do it with her whole life being torn apart,
Hmm.
I can apply the same way of thinking as she did to restore my financial life, to get started with the first baby step that I need to take, and just slowly let it unfold in front of you.
So, in your book, you highlight several goddesses and what their archetypes are and what that means. Can you speak a little bit about what the different archetypes are so that our listeners might see if they can identify where they might land?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So the five goddesses that I chose to speak about are Athena. We've got Lakshmi from Hindu mythology. We have Isis from ancient Egypt, and we have Hecate and Persephone, again from Greek mythology. And each one of them is so different and shows a different perspective as to how we relate with money and what we do with money. So Athena is this like warrior lady. The moment she got born, she was wisdom herself. You know, she was born ready, armored, and ready for action. So she is the strategist. She's all about planning and pulling the resources that you need. If we translate that in financial terms, it's those of us who like to plan, to strategize, to use spreadsheets, to budget, to use apps to track our expenses and all of that. I am an Athena.
Okay.
This is where I started. I actually started there, but I'm slowly learning to use the wisdom from the other goddesses as well.
Hmm.
And I'll tell you why in just a moment. But then we have Lakshmi. She is the queen of abundance. With her, everything is just beauty, it's flow, it's letting abundance and wealth come to you. So
Hmm.
that's more mindset work and manifestation, if you will.
Hmm.
But that has its place as well, of course. Then it's Isis. Isis is a representation of the ability to piece things together. It's like putting a puzzle together. It's laying out everything that you have and just building it into a coherent strategy if you want. It doesn't have to be as masculine and structured as with Athena, but just knowing what you have and really building something that will leave a legacy behind you. Hecate is one of my favorites because she's the mystic one.
Hmm.
She is the one who lights the different paths that are available for us. Uh, she is the queen of the crossroads.
Hmm.
So every time we're not sure which path to take, we can use this archetype to really put a light on each option, see which way goes where
Hmm.
and select our path. And she's the one to rely on instinct, on intuition.
Hmm.
That's very feminine and that's very close to women. And yeah, I already talked about Persephone, her transformational journey. And what I wanted to touch upon was that as readers go through the book, they initially go, okay, I recognize myself in this goddess. And then, okay, wait, I have this from this goddess and
Hmm.
this from that goddess. And the point is, yes, you might have a primary goddess archetype inside you, but it's really a blend of everyone. And it's a unique blend for each woman because we are different, we pull different personality traits from each goddess. So we make this unique blend that we are.
Hmm.
But each goddess has her place. And even though I feel like more of an Athena, I'm trying to learn more from Lakshmi so that I can allow abundance come to me. And now I'm learning more and more how to rely on Hecate and her archetype to let my intuition guide me through life, if you want, not only financial life, but any other aspect.
That's so interesting. And so, as the readers are kind of figuring out what goddess might be their primary and what other characteristics are stepping in, what are some of the benefits that you've noticed for women when they're really tuning into the energies of these different goddesses? How does that show up in like in a tangible way for their money story?
Yeah. Well, the first thing that I can point out is readers come to me, women sharing this book like opened up a whole new world of understanding money. So they were so happy to see someone speaking to them in a language that allowed them to understand the flow of money, managing money in a more feminine way. So this gives them, first of all, the clarity
Mhm.
that they need so that they can eventually take the next step on that journey. But it's really about um, bringing more peace, uh, get rid of the confusion, the frustration. And, nowadays there's just so much information about money, financial markets, courses, programs, and all of that. That makes things even harder.
Yeah,
It's more confusing and more overwhelming than ever.
it is.
Uh, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like really
And,
intimidating for a lot of people, thinking
and
about.
we get stuck and we get frozen and I don't know where to start,
Yeah.
So this book and this approach really starts to get people to think differently about money. And I had this woman just share with me that this is like a whole new way of looking at things, of looking at money. And I'm so grateful, I came across, your perspective. But in everyday life, you can simply use the energies and tapping into the archetypes and their stories to get a feeling of what feels right for you, what feels aligned with your own values, your own experience, your own beliefs about money, and just try to imagine if in this particular situation, what would Hecate do? How would Isis, react to this event or, money
Mhm.
problem, whatever the situation? So getting yourself in the shoes and the way of thinking and acting as the goddess is
Mhm.
like could be like this how do you say a lighthouse for you,
Yes. Hmm.
like a compass to guide you.
So can you talk, some of the women that I work with have much financial stress and overwhelmed if, say, they are ending a relationship with a husband or a significant other and feel really just at a loss for how to navigate that and not knowing and feeling like an intense sense of scarcity and not knowing what to do. I'm wondering if you ever work with women like that, and how does your philosophy, how does your book help, and what would the goddesses say to somebody like that in that
Yeah.
in that stage?
Yeah. So, in my conversations with a lot of people, specifically with coaches who help women go through tough stages like getting a divorce or just separation or loss of a loved one, uh, they share the same thing with me. Like a lot of women have, like the majority of them, have a real hard time figuring out their new identity as now being this, woman independent, separate from, the husband or the relationship partner, and they just feel lost. They really don't know where to start, what their new identity is, and how to go from there. So to them, I would suggest referring to Persephone's story because she went through like the most horrific journey that you could imagine, and the way she stood as as resilient and as adaptive and flexible to meet the challenges of the day
Hmm.
is just speaks to us in the sense that we have the power, we have the strength inside of us to start from scratch, to start from zero, to start from, everything all over again.
Hmm.
But first we need to tap into this deeper wisdom, these ancient stories. That's what they give us.
Yeah.
Uh, they only give us the start,
Yeah.
and from there, once you get this clarity, then the path just unfolds step by step.
Hmm. Hmm. And that's amazing. because there is so much wisdom to be had from reflecting on mythology or history. And there's so much strength in that, and just realizing that we are all connected across both time and space, and to be able to tap into the knowledge and intuition of our ancestors and of goddesses from the mythology is there's so much. And I think that a lot of people can get really caught up into like being stuck in the present and just in what they can immediately see, feel, hear, touch, that they don't know how to tap into all of that wisdom. Do you offer any strategies, tips, techniques for how to be more in tune and how to access that part of us?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. There are tips and strategies in the book on how to connect with the different goddess archetypes. For example, if it's about Lakshmi, the goddess of abundance and wealth and beauty, one of the practices is, for example, when you decide to this is, the path I'm moving forward with. I need to take control of my finances. How can I make this a beautiful process for me? Something that feels easy and relaxed and doesn't stress me out.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the main feeling we get when we know we need to deal with money. It's all stress um, and just fear and all that overwhelm. But Lakshmi, I have this practice in the book that I offer to the readers. Like you can have a very nice like a date with your money where you can light some candles, perfume around you, just a beautiful like bouquet of flowers around you. Just make the environment feel safe for you and beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And from that perspective, look at your money, look at your finances, get this relationship with it, make it beautiful. It's not about stressing out. It's not about the exact amount of money that's in your bank account either. It's about how you feel with it.
Mm-hmm.
And when you use the candles, for example, you go to a totally different state of mind,
Mm-hmm.
and when you do that over time, because it doesn't, I'm sure it doesn't happen, with the first one, with the
Right.
first date. But when you make this like a ritual
Mm-hmm.
and have this date with your money, you start to understand it better. And okay, someone may call me crazy here, but like you start hearing what your money wants to tell you, and it's about the relationship, not about the numbers in the bank account. It's about the energy that you create with with your finances. So yeah, having a money date,
Love
lighting some
that.
candles,
I'm
yeah,
gonna have a money
fragrance.
date. That's a great idea. And you just the language that you just used, having a relationship with money, that's something that I'm noticing is so important and trying to teach people the benefit of having a healthy relationship with money. A lot of the people that I work with feel like money isn't the enemy almost, and they don't want to think about money. It's too stressful. It's causing problems. It's why we're fighting with my significant other. It's why I have lack. And then um you don't have that love. And when you create a date with money, which I love that idea, I think you're starting to cultivate a more positive and open and loving relationship with money. Because everything is energy, including money. Everything
Yeah,
is energy. And
yeah.
so we can pick up on where the flow of the money is and what, like you said, what the money wants.
Yeah, yeah. It's like I have this ongoing work with my relationship with money. As I said, it's not a one-time thing. You
Right.
you keep you keep practicing, but for me, I don't have a problem receiving money. I don't have a problem with money coming to me. Where I have a problem is spending. It it used to feel like every time I would pay, I would give money to buy something, doesn't matter what. It unless it is like necessities, like food, you
Hmm.
just know you have to buy it. But if it's something else, I would feel like something is getting ripped out of my heart.
Hmm.
It's so strong, this my clinging to get having more money and piling up and saving. And I know this comes from my background of that fear and scarcity mindset. And this is something I'm working on to overcome. And I'm learning to every time I part with money, I'm learning to say thank you. This is your next stage in life if you want to. It's just parting on good terms and parting with love
Mm-hmm.
and knowing that more is to come. So it's okay.
I think a lot of people struggle with spending money on things and I know I've put myself into that bucket too, where I'm like, okay, I need to accumulate and if I spend it, then I'm not going to have as much as I did. And what if something happens and I can't do that? And there's like this, it's like a very unhealthy feel, like, even just talking about it, it sounds unhealthy. It's an unhealthy relationship. But yeah, and I think that's like a really good example where you might tune into, like, if you have an emotional reaction in one way or another, whether you're when you're receiving money or when you're spending money or interacting with money, that could be a sign to you that there's some work to do with your money relationship and that there might be a money block, um and it might be really helpful to look at that within yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's even with some people having trouble receiving money.
Hmm.
And then it might be a thing about self-worth. Like you don't feel worthy enough for this money to come to you.
Hmm.
So it again, it's inner work. It's work not only with your relationship with money, but other personality traits and stories and myths inside of us that
Right.
we've grown up with.
This is so true too. Yes, because I know that as women too, I think a lot of us struggle with charging for our services for money. Like if we're a coach or an entrepreneur, an author, like, ooh, like I want to help people. I want to do this. I can't charge, or I can't charge a lot of money. I'm not worth it. I don't want to take that. It feels ick. It feels wrong. And like that's an unhealthy money story too, because we are worthy. And it's that's more work that needs to be done there as well.
Yeah. I actually learned I was like that. I was in that position, but then I learned to see what I bring as value to the people that I serve. So it's not about just a price tag, it's about how you change other people's life. I mean, can you put a price tag on helping someone rediscover themselves and get on this exciting new journey of better health, better relationships, love, self-love? I mean, you can't put a price on it, right?
Right.
Uh, that makes it even harder to to quantify. But again, it's all about the value and the transformation that you
Yes.
provide for people. So that's the point from where I choose to put a price tag on what I do because I know this work will help so many people
Mm-hmm.
and I know the value of it. And especially if you come to me and we work on program that will get you not only work with your inner goddess archetype, but also learn the essentials of managing money and even investing. So
Mm-hmm.
there comes a point where you can learn to invest by yourself. And if you do this sustainable long-term strategy, it can earn you hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
So the initial investment that you did in the program will just pay for itself on I don't know, depending on, the specific case, but it pays for itself and then more
And then
for
more.
you.
Yes, it'll come back tenfold, if not more. Yes.
Yeah.
And so and I love that we need to understand the value that we bring, the transformation that we offer, because you're changing people's lives, in so many ways. And it is really hard to quantify that, but it is worthy of charging money for that. And that's, again, that's inner work right there. I mean, for myself, I'm speaking for myself, that's certainly inner work. Um, I'm wondering, because you talked about your program. So do you offer, I know you have this fabulous book and we're going to link it in the show notes, but can you talk about what other services you offer for people?
So once you get to the book and you recognize yourself in these goddesses and you're intrigued to learn more. I have this free quiz that everyone can take to, unveil their primary goddess, take the lessons on another level, something that's not included in the book. And from there, if it feels aligned, it's very important for me to people to feel aligned with what I'm saying, right?
Mhm.
Before they take the next step. But there's also a free webinar that you can watch. It's again based on the archetypes, but it talks about the 4 steps that people can take to go from that state of confusion, frustration, not knowing where to start, to having a healthy relationship with their money and having, getting on the path to managing money with clarity, with confidence, like a goddess.
Mhm.
And from there, again, if there's alignment, if it resonates and people want to learn more, I have a 8-week program
Mhm.
that consists of 4 modules.
Mhm.
Each one is 2 weeks long. So we do the mindset work, we do the goddess archetype work, and then we go into the practical things in, learning how to manage money,
Mhm.
up to the point where we learn to invest in long-term sustainable opportunities.
Can you talk about some of the transformation that you've seen with people that have worked with you?
Yeah. Well, the main transformation that I'm seeing is that women get so confident and calm, and they feel like they know what they're doing with money, and that's the best part. That's really that's the groundwork. If you don't have that, no matter what other strategies and financial advice come to you, you're not you're not sure how it works. You're not sure, okay, it sounds good, but sounds good on paper, but what does it even mean? And with the program, you can see how people understand in
Mhm.
more depth. Okay, I know what this means. And yes, it's for me. No, it's not for me. You can make the decision of whether this particular opportunity is right or not.
Mhm.
And it's based not only on listening to your intuition, listening to the goddess within, but also on the practical side of things that you learn in the program. Like if we go to directly to the investment level, like what's a fund, what's a stock, what's an ETF, what's an index, and how all of that works. Uh, but once you get used to the language and the strategies, it's very easy from then on to evaluate any other opportunities that come your way.
That's an amazing, amazing transformation for people, particularly women, just to feel empowered to have a really healthy, strong relationship with their money and not be stuck feeling overwhelmed, and to have not only the inner knowing and the inner relationship with the work that you help them with, but also really tangible strategies for how to invest and how to grow your money if that's what you're hoping to do. So
Yeah.
that's beautiful. And you said you have a free quiz available
Yeah.
for women to be able to discover their archetype.
Yes. Yeah.
Yay! I will love to include that in the show notes as well.
Sure.
Victoria, is there anything else that I have not thought to ask about that you were hoping to share with the audience today?
Um, when we came into the conversation, we said, okay, this was going is going out of flow, and I'm not, thinking about any particular questions that I want to answer
Yep,
beforehand.
yep.
But what I want to leave people with is the idea that if someone in the other end of the world, coming from a post-communist Eastern European country,
Hmm.
can undergo this transformation and can learn how to do stuff on her own and invest and achieve results that even my fund manager, for the money that I've put, in the hands of professionals, did not, they did not yield the same results as I did doing it on my own. So if I can do that with all my background and all my challenges in the past, I'm pretty sure that any other woman in the world can do it.
You're
I just,
truly an
yeah.
inspiration. Seriously, wow. Like to from your background to be able to transform your own life on your own and just be as strong and confident as you are in this topic and helping other women find that strength and knowledge within themselves. You've it seems to me that you've broken generational chain patterns in what you're doing, and that's really amazing work.
Certainly for my family, this is like I'm the first person to invest in international financial markets.
Wow.
And that I guess that says something. But it's really about learning and learning within you
Mhm.
and without, in the outside world, how you practice that. It's doable, and the thing is, you can do it on your own for sure, but it will take you, a lot more time. So it's good to find coaches and people and programs that can guide you through it, make the path feel more doable and easier. And I'm not talking about my program alone. There are millions of options out there.
Mhm.
But it was just having someone work with you will just make it much more easy.
Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. When you have somebody that's already put in so much time, love, and energy into it, it's only gonna catapult how quickly you can achieve the transformation that you're desiring in this area. And so thank you, Victoria, so much for sharing your wisdom and your time today. It's been truly an honor getting to speak with you on this topic. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me, Laura. It's been a real pleasure. Thank you.